Phoenix Down Radio is on the air.
Welcome, everybody, to Phoenix Down Radio, episode number 195. I'm your host, Klaus Nightbringer, and joining me is Seyrr Timono. Seyrr, how are you today?
Yo, a little bit of a sore neck. Think I slept weird, but otherwise not bad. It's a nice day. I mean, it was a nice day. It's evening now. I am overthinking this. Stuff is good.
Yay! We have
Woo.
above freezing weather in January in Minnesota.
Weird.
It has been a very weird year. Not that I'm complaining necessarily. It just makes for a very wet and nasty dog when they walk in after going out for a walk.
Oh no. You should get him a raincoat.
We do have a raincoat for him, but right now he's currently in a little kind of doggy bodysuit because yesterday we took him to get neutered. So yeah, lucky guy. He's feeling a little bit odd, but he's gonna be okay. He's been a real good boy the last couple of weeks. So I hope you guys all enjoyed meeting him on the last episode. We like,
having to be a responsible pet owner. Good job.
Yep, we need to make sure that he's taken care of that way. So it's gonna make his quality of life even better as well, I believe. So it's a good thing to do.
Generally, yeah.
Aside from that, how have you been since the last episode, Seyrr?
I now have 4 different gill farming submersibles going, so that's fun.
Jeez, man.
I went through so much coke. The coke is no longer the expensive part. It's the hardened sap. Or should I say, resin.
Oh my.
Every part of submersibles is drugs. I don't make the rules. I just make the rules. Wait, what?
You just follow the rules. And if Yoshi tells you you need to get all the coke and resin, well, you have to get all the coke and resin.
Yeah.
Just be careful because all that coke and resin can go straight to your brain.
Too late. I also have parts for 4 different alternative sub loadouts for various things. So
well, you can always give them
down
to me.
The rabbit hole. I can't. They bind when they've been used.
Oh, crap.
Also, it wouldn't be a rabbit hole, would it? A Sargasso? What would it be if it's in water?
A whirlpool. It'd be the Mariana Trench.
Sure, yeah.
The Marinara
Going way
Trench.
too far down the trench.
I don't know. I'm just making stuff up too.
But no, trench works, I think.
Okie dokie then. So down the trench you go.
How about you? How about you? What have you been up to lately?
Well, I've been working too much, and it kind of hit me a little bit. You guys probably aren't aware of that or what happened, but after last week's episode, or after the last episode, I ended up going to the emergency room.
Oh crap!
Yeah, but I'm okay. I mean, I'm here.
I was like, I probably don't need to ask, are you okay? Because you're here and doing the show, but
it was a
how
weird
are you holding
thing.
Up?
It was tough to deal with for a little while because I woke up in the middle of the night to take Ein out. Because dogs, in the middle of the night, they got to do their thing. So you get up and you take them out.
Their schedule has no regard for your schedule.
Exactly. And it was just me and him that night. My girlfriend was out of town at a friend's because they had been at a beer expo, which is perfectly fine. It was planned out and there was no issue with that. But I wake up, and normally before I go to bed, because I have such bad back pain and knee pain, I usually take a THC gummy to help me relax, and it allows me to sleep.
Feds, if you're listening, please leave us alone.
And they're legal ones from in the States. They were purchased legally, so
which is why I'm just talking to the feds.
So I wake up, I start getting out of bed, and I feel like my chest is like vibrating.
Oh no.
It was the weirdest feeling. I can't really explain it. All I know is it was a centralized feeling, like right here in around my heart. And for about 5 to 10 seconds, I just really couldn't move. And once that was done, I felt like I could not catch my breath. So I did not know exactly what was happening because, well, I was still a little bit under the influence of the gummies, which were trying to help me relax, which were not helping me relax at that moment because I was starting to freak out.
I mean, imagine if they were helping you relax. It's like, this is how bad it was with it reduced.
Right? That was my initial thought was did I have a heart attack? And because I was in the state I was, I didn't feel the pain.
Right.
But like I said,
So you went to WebMD and found out that you had cancer.
No, I actually tried to just relax a little bit because I wasn't sure exactly what had happened and what was going on. But it wasn't going away. And I started to feel like my fingers were going a little bit tingly.
Oh dear.
So it was at that moment I realized I had to call the ambulance.
Yeah, that is a worrying set of symptoms. That you absolutely made the right call there.
Yep. I think it ended up, I don't know what the initial thing was on the onset, but I think I ended up having a panic attack because of it. And that's what...
Yeah, that doesn't feel surprising.
And I think that's what the lingering inability to like catch my breath and just I could not calm down until after I had gotten there. They ran tests on my heart and blood work. They had an EKG on me, and everything was fine, thankfully. Knock on wood, But it's just one of those things that don't take your health for granted. Make sure that you're doing
so they couldn't find an actual cause for it?
No. But I mean, I will be visiting a primary care physician not in the very near future to discuss what happened and figure out exactly what we can maybe do to help with that. But beyond that, I mean, right
hope
now
it was just like it was a random twinge that got made worse.
That's what I really don't know what it was, and that's the thing that scares me a little bit, and I don't want to dig into it yet until I can talk with a physician. So
yeah. And sometimes bodies just do body things.
Yep. So I'm just mentioning this because just to be transparent in what's going on in my life. It's just one of those things that I'm not saying it's to try and garner any sympathy or make you guys feel bad for me or anything like that. That's not what I want to do. I want people to just be aware that you need to listen to your body, and it tells you the things that it needs. And
we got lots of friend folk who listen to this, so it's nice to just be like, hey, here's what's going on with me.
Yep. I want to say that it might have been may have been stress induced as well. So a lot of things that could have been, but I am here. I'm hardy. I'm hale, and I am not going anywhere anytime
Seyrr Klauss.
soon. Yes. You know what I mean.
I do.
Smart ass.
Only a lot.
Aside from that, like I said, it's just been a lot of work, just trying to, continue on and dreading when I see that bill from the hospital.
Oh, God.
Even though insurance is going to cover a good chunk of it, I still probably have to pay half of it.
Yeah, that's a whole other set of rants.
Yep. So we're not gonna. That's for a completely different podcast topic and show type. We're not going to discuss that here. Instead,
PDR could be political discourse radio.
How about we just thank our Patreon producers Nick Nar, Aurori, Ravenheart, and Mika. Thank you so much for your support and helping us make this show continue to go on.
That seems like a way better move.
Let's go ahead and jump into some gaming community news then. This one little story here I thought was very funny when I first heard about it. Apparently, Sony and Square Enix are teaming up together to do an official Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Sony Bravia TV. This particular story is coming courtesy of PushSquare.com, written by Liam Croft. So thank you so much for that, Liam. In one of the more bizarre marketing agreements, it's been revealed that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has its own official TV, the Sony Bravia XR. A press release from Sony Electronics suggests the television, quote unquote, is the official gaming TV for this release, offering the ultimate gaming experience to guide users who take on the role of Cloud Strife and pursue Sephiroth, the legendary swordsman, end quote.
But it's a TV.
Yes, it's a TV. There are not any new features actually exclusive to the TV when you play the game on it. This is just a bill of marketing. The only real tidbit that press release mentions is utilizing a variable refresh rate, suggesting Final Fantasy VII Rebirth may ship with a graphical mode that unlocks the frame rate at a slightly lower resolution. So this hasn't been confirmed at the time of writing, and the game launches as a PS5 exclusive next month on the 29th of February. What are your thoughts on this?
I hope there's something about the game that ties in with the TV's features, because otherwise, what even is the point? This just feels like a naked, not quite cash grab, but
it's a cash grab.
It's just a random tie-in. It's not the same as a cash grab. I'm getting very picky about my terminology, but it is weird. It's like saying, like, oh, M&Ms are the official chocolate-covered snack candy of the Olympics. It's like, but the Olympics has no particular reason to be associated with chocolate-covered snack candy. What even is this?
Yeah, it is what it is. What can you do?
Gripe about it on a podcast?
Sure.
Woohoo! I'm doing it right.
All right, speaking of Final Fantasy VII news, Final Fantasy VII Remake story recap video prepares us for Rebirth. This comes from siliconera.com and is written by Jenny Lada. Let me copy paste this for y'all. Oops, there we go. To help people prepare for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Square Enix shared a Final Fantasy VII Remake story recap. The video is 3 minutes long and covers the major events and characters from the first entry in this new trilogy. Things begin by showing Midgar, the settings of the first game. It shows how Mako is used to power the Metropolis. Then it shifts to Avalanche with Barret, Cloud, and Tifa working with them to take down the Mako reactors and fight back during the environmental crisis. Cloud meets Aerith as a result of this, as well as gets a Shinra target on his back. It then fast forwards to the dropping of the Sector 7 pillar, destruction of part of the city, Aerith's abduction, and the return of Sephiroth. So, yeah, just a kind of a reminder for those who haven't played a remake in a hot minute. I mean, being it did come out 4 years ago.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god, you're right.
2020. It came out in April of 2020.
Nope, I'm recontextualizing memories. To be fair, 3 of the years in between just didn't count.
They did count. They just were just really weird. It was a very weird time.
It makes it hard to figure passage of time. Well, like when you say, oh, it's been 4 years, what the hell?
Well, that, or we're just getting old.
Nonsense. It must be a time warp.
So let's do the time warp again. And talk about Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, if you want to go way back.
Oh, you remember, so ridiculously over the top.
You remember Advent Children?
Yes.
Well, for those of you who don't remember Advent Children, it's getting a 2-day viewing re-release in U.S. theaters in February. This story comes from IGN.com and is written by Christina Alexander. Final Fantasy VII Advent Children Complete will be playing in U.S. theaters for 2 days only in February. Square Enix recently announced its partnership with Fathom and Sony Pictures on Tuesday to bring the director's cut of the CGI cinematic sequel to the original Final Fantasy VII to theaters for the very first time. The English dubbed version of the movie will play on February 21st, and the English subbed version plays on the 22nd, just 1 week before the launch of Rebirth.
Good job. Way to head off the arguments about dub versus sub.
Just watch whichever one you enjoy most. It's fine.
Sure. But they're offering both is the point. Exactly.
So the first day is the English voice cast, and the second day is the English subtitled with the Japanese voice cast.
Yeah. I've been to movie events for some other ones, other anime, and
yep.
Fun.
They are a lot of fun. I do own Advent Children. I'm both on DVD and Blu-ray, so I don't need to go to this, but I did see it is playing in a number of theaters here in Minnesota. I'm sure in California's got a bunch of them too. So easily a probably wherever you are, you probably can find a theater within an hour or so of you to go see it. If you want to experience it in, it's the newest, latest, greatest theater technology, potentially utilizing Dolby Atmos, 4K, all that good stuff.
Yeah, there are about 8 theaters within 20 minutes of me. Wait, no, more. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, well, you're in freaking Silicon Valley, man. You could throw a stone and hit 27 theaters that you can see this movie in. So for me, it's actually a minimum of an hour drive to go see it.
Yeah. In general, a lot more theaters are looking for alternative event type things, and so embracing these types of like specialty events. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of the traditional model has just been falling apart.
Yep, it's nice to see.
Which again, it's nice, fun to do this really special thing. Go out, have fun with that. And
I really did enjoy Advent Children. It was a great movie. Getting to see a little bit of what happened after the events of the original game occurred, and seeing how everybody has progressed over the the last, I think it was like 5 years in the past that or something like that.
Part of me feels embarrassed for saying it, but I am absolutely a sucker for any time, like the bucket chain sequence where they're helping Cloud get up to fight that Bahamut. Like that kind of thing. I am just an absolute sucker for that. It hits all the right emotional spots.
It's teamwork at its greatest, right?
Yeah. Plus, also absolutely ridiculous physics defying. That last one should not have even worked. What the hell?
Well, it was all CGI.
Emotionally meaningful. Yep. It's emotionally meaningful.
A nice thing about it, before the start of each screening of Final Fantasy VII Advent Children Complete, which is 26 minutes longer than the original film, fans will get to see an introductory reel that breaks down the history of Final Fantasy VII, the game's connection to the movie, and gameplay footage of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. They'll also watch interviews with Tetsuya Nomura, Naoki Hamaguchi, and Yoshinori Kitase as they discuss the making of the upcoming remake title, which won Most Anticipated Game at the Game Awards 2023. So yeah, that's it. Could be definitely a lot of fun if you want to get a little bit of a Final Fantasy fix in before Rebirth is released at the very, very end of February.
You just know someone's going to be cosplaying.
Oh, a lot of people are going to be cosplaying. There's going to be a lot of Clouds, Tifa's, Aeriths, Barretts. I want to see the Red 13 cosplayers.
Ketchy. Show me the Ketchy. Sorry, Kate Sith.
No, you're right. It's Ketchy.
I know.
I freaking hate that they've corrupted it to Kate Sith. It's Ketchy.
I mean, I feel like we could blame whoever put it in the thing where we were going to see it written for literally decades long before there was any voiced thing of it.
Yeah, I think I said it as Kate Sith for the longest time as well. I'm guilty of that too. But that's one thing we did.
Honestly, the only reason I do it right now is because in Mobius Final Fantasy, the music for when you're wearing the Ketchy costume it is an absolute bop. I will play it for you sometime. But it's Ketoshi, 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 Ketoshi. Dude. Anyways, I'll play it for you later. It's great. Absolute bop.
Speaking of entertainment types of forms of that was a terrible segue. All to say that Final Fantasy XIV's live action series is dead. This is coming from GameInformer.com and was written by Wesley LeBlanc. Let me copy paste this for everybody. The Final Fantasy XIV live-action television series, which was first announced back in 2019, is dead, according to the production company that was working on it. Hivemind, which also worked on Netflix's The Witcher, was developing the series with Sony Pictures Television, but co-founder Dinesh Shamdasani revealed on Twitter that the project is dead when asked about it, as reported by PC Gamer. Quote, dead, unquote, Shamdasani writes on Twitter in response to somebody asking what happened with the series production. We took around a fantastic pilot script by Ben Lustig and Jake Thornton, along with a multi-season plan they built with our showrunners, but got rejected across the board. The size and scale needed to do it right proved too much for anyone who wanted to risk it. PC Gamer notes that Thornton says the series' dead status is the result of a COVID-19 pandemic. We took it out just as studios began to zip up their purse strings, he writes on Twitter. At the time of its 2019 announcement, not much was known about the project other than it being a collaboration between Hivemind and Sony Pictures Television. There was no word on cast, story, which parts of Eorzea the series might take place in, and other details along those lines. Apparently, Amazon came closest to picking it up.
I'm thinking of, like, we saw those commercials for Final Fantasy 14 where they had kind of the live-action versions of, like, someone in Dragoon armor or Louis Suave, and they always had a little bit of a weird, corny, hokey feel to them. So I don't know what it would have taken to have something that wouldn't be hitting that note, like, in terms of production values, in terms of, like, the CG possibly, or I don't know.
I mean, if
I'm not sure what it would have taken to have something that would land and not just feel cheesy.
I mean, The Witcher turned out pretty well, and this is the same company that was going to be that was trying to do it. So I think they probably would have done a pretty decent job of making it look good. You got to remember, those commercials were done in a lot smaller budget than what some of these companies can do for some of these types of television shows. The only issue that I really saw... That's a fair point.
I know very little about the actual commercial making.
The one big thing is I think that this would have been kind of a niche television, or it would have been a niche market for a lot of people. While there a lot of people out there are familiar with what Final Fantasy is, and there are a number of people who play Final Fantasy 14 in particular, I'm not sure that it would have necessarily garnered enough interest to really expand and give it what it needed. That's just my personal opinion, unfortunately, but it just, there needs to be a lot more to draw it in. I mean, if you look at the Witcher series, it had Henry Cavill in it, and he was a pretty damn big draw, as well as the source material that the books that it was written from were really good. So
yeah, I wonder who they would have in this hypothetical FF14 live action series. I wonder who they would have been looking at for casting.
Like I said, they probably didn't have any idea yet. I do remember, though, She Heals I Tank kind of had a little ongoing thing where they would do guessing as to who they would cast in different roles when this was announced. I remember listening to that, and it was pretty funny. I think they wanted to get like The Rock to play Raubon.
Raubon? Yeah.
You could pull that off.
It's like who would be, The Rock has to be Raubon.
The only thing that I can see possibly being difficult is, casting Lalafell.
Yeah. Like having that, and again, not have it look like weird or Uncanny Valley or silly or things like that would be the bit I'd worry about.
I mean, they could do something similar to what they did in The Hobbit and in Lord of the Rings with all the hobbits, because they made that look pretty damn good.
I mean, there's been plenty of work. There have been works that made it work. There are ones that absolutely didn't. So
yeah,
that would be the bit where I'd at least be worried about, are you going to be able to pull this off? How do the Lalafell look?
Yeah, I get it. As well as, how the magic works in the world, how it looks and things like that. But unfortunately, I'm hoping that maybe somebody will end up picking it up, because the game is continuing apace. It's still extremely popular, more than 10 years after its initial release. So that's saying something.
But for the moment,
it's
at least unfortunate.
More Final Fantasy 14 news. A new edition of the Hori Tactical Assault Commander keypad, the Final Fantasy 14 Black Edition, has pre-orders live currently. This is the gamepad that Yoshi P helped to design, because he kind of really, really loved the Logitech G13. You remember that?
Yep.
So he helped design the F14.
I think Spender actually has one of those.
I
mean, like, he'd been using the previous ones before anyway, so...
Yeah. But yeah, pre-orders are available now. It has a planned release of April 2024, and I believe it is $140. I had a G4,
Wild.
I had a G13 for a while. I actually ended up selling that thing and made a spicy profit because those things
Dang.
were discontinued, and people still really loved them. Mine was unopened, and I think I paid $40 for it, and I sold it for like $200.
Damn.
Right? I mean, this was also during the
like
pandemic.
A device like that, especially. I mean, yeah, when there was like nothing to be had.
Huge
God, when it
demand
was
for all that
so
shit.
hard to. When it was so hard to even get a webcam.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, memories. Horrible, horrible memories.
Some more 14.
Anyway,
more 14 news. The Final Fantasy 14 and Final Fantasy 11, the Maiden's Rhapsody event is live again. This one, this thing has been out so many times.
I think this does make the 5th instance of it.
It is, yeah. It initially came out in 2015 and was re-released in 2017, 2020, and 2022, as well as now 2024. If you've,
I do wonder why they keep bringing this one back.
Because it's been one of the more popular ones, and 11 is still kicking.
Okay, fair.
And 11 is in its 20th year now, or is it in its 21st year? Wasn't it a 2003 release?
I think 2003, because I started playing about a year after it had started service.
Yeah, I think I want to say it released.
That seems right.
Yeah, it released in Japan in 2020 or in 2003. It released to PC in, I think, October of 2003, and then it was released on the PlayStation 2 in March of 2004. So we're almost on 20 years for the PS2 release.
Count. Yeah. That's so weird.
But if you've done this one, you can reset it to redo the quest again, but you're not going to get the rewards again. But this is the one where it has the really cool armor that you can get. That looks like
so you can give yourself a bit of a samurai look, whatever job you're on.
Yes. And then the final bit of news we've got, the Moogle Treasure Trove, the first hunt for Genesis, will run starting on January 30th and will run through March 11th. So if you want to just gather all of your irregular tomestones so you can get really cool, fun in-game things and catch up on leveling jobs and things like that, this is a great way to do it.
Now, they've changed up the format for this one in a lot of ways that I really love.
Yes.
Yeah, so first off, they did note that it is part 1. There is a part 2 planned as well. So they will have changes in the items awarded at the break, other stuff like that. But with this one, in addition to your standard objectives of running Praetorium or Labyrinth of the Ancients, whatever many times, first off, they mentioned that they're going to be adding gates at the Gold Saucer, as well as ocean fishing routes. They do note that for the ocean fishing, you do have a minimum score. One that's easy to hit, but you do have to actually fish.
And then,
but in addition to that, there will be weekly objectives, mini Mog challenges, and Ultimog challenges, rotating challenges that appear to be a wide variety of different types of things. The screenshot suggests that you have stuff like triple triad, hunts, fishing, treasure hunts, all sorts of stuff like that.
But be aware, those new pieces that they've added can only be done at a limited number of times. Like some of them can only be done weekly, and some of the things can only be done once.
Yeah, the Ultimog challenge, it's once per Moogle Tombstone event. I am kind of curious what that's going to entail. Will it be clear Ultima Weapon Ultimate? That would be an Ultimog challenge.
That would suck.
So maybe a bit much.
But it'll also probably
I don't think it'll necessarily... Yeah, I don't think it'll necessarily... Ooh, I hope there's a Mahjong challenge. Black those tiles. I will get people to play Mahjong. Just watch me.
Not this guy. Not this guy. But yeah, that'll be kind of fun way to get some more stuff. You can get mounts, minions, orchestrion scrolls, stuff like that. I think they also have the Mama Shiva scarf in there. Stuff. So A few things that I think were only available to like contest winners, I think are going to be in this again. So,
which always makes the contest winners a little bit grumpy, but I've never seen them get that upset about it.
yeah.
But at this point, it's cute. It's a thing for your glamour.
I mean, it's their fault for picking the Scarf of Wondrous Wit. Damn it. when they could have picked the Noble Barding or the Sephora, the Cloud Hair or something like that, you know?
Oh yeah, I absolutely went for the Noble Barding way once upon a time.
Exactly.
Moose is still kind of cranky that they had White Ravens available as a prize, and God, I think it was the Rising a couple years back.
Well, didn't they end
mostly
up just
because
be
of the amount of the
replicas?
White Ravens were the one time that it wasn't replicas. It was the actual White Ravens.
That's right. I thought they renamed those though after the fact.
No, because they were giving out the same item. I think in future ones they were going to have it be replica ones.
Okay, it's been a while, but I remember there was a lot of people upset because you had to work your ass off to get White Ravens back in the day.
Yeah, I did not. I saw what was necessary and was like, you know what? I'm good.
No, I'm one of those guys who got the White Ravens in that event. So yeah, I'm a terrible person too. So
yeah, I don't think he's mad at you.
No, I get it.
I mean, he might be mad at you. I could ask him.
Probably best not to.
It'll be fun for me.
Let's pass on that.
Anyways.
So that's our gaming community news this week. But now let's go ahead and jump back into our discussion. And we have one more disc to go in the Final Fantasy 15 original soundtrack. This week we are talking about disc 4. Let me copy and paste this. So if anybody wants to follow along, thank you to finalfantasy.fandom.com for having all of this lovely information on the soundtracks. Let's go ahead and start with Broken Bonds.
Yeah. Last time we had gotten through Alticia, the fights with Leviathan, all the stuff there. This is where the game takes on a bit of a darker tone.
Yep. This particular song plays at the train to Tenebrae. So this is during that train ride that we end up having to take. I think it ends up crashing, and this is where we end up meeting Shiva.
Yeah. That's a good summary of it.
I think that's what ends up happening.
Tenebrae is a province, Lunafreya's homeland, that has come under Niflheim's control. So this is the first of the really penetrating into the stronghold of the enemy.
You said penetrate. Sorry. Not sorry.
No, you're not.
No, of course I'm not. You would be disappointed if I was actually sorry about this.
Very quiet. That occasional hard guitar bit in there.
Yeah, it's a little more driving, and it's really kind of it gives a little bit of an awkward feeling.
Yeah.
It's something because things just aren't sitting well right now, the way things are going.
I mean, after everything that happened in the previous one, the title Broken Bonds, you've got a lot of these bonds between the party starting to fray. You have Gladio angry at Noctis. Noctis angry at himself and pitying poor Ignis, who struggles to keep up with the rest of the group after having been blinded. Prompto feeling helpless to do anything about.
Yeah.
Like, you had this really fun buddy dynamic, and it's just been utterly broken in a way that makes it feel like it's going to be hard to ever get it back.
Yeah. Very hard to hear that. Nobody wants to be in that part of, when a relationship starts to hit this piece of, this type of thing. So let's go ahead and continue on to the next bit of music. This is Dining Car.
Given that we're on the train.
Actually, this plays at the Cartanica Diner. So it's kind of like a when they say dining car, I think they mean like one of those diner car looking, like the big trailer looking diners.
Okay. It's like maybe something that was a train car, but it's been taken off the track and is now just sitting there converted in.
Yeah, I mean,
diner.
like a lot of old school, diners in the U.S. looked like those from the 20s and 30s.
I never thought about it, but it would make sense that some of those, or like the aesthetic started out as actual dining cars that had been taken off the track and repurposed. I never thought about that.
Yeah, I believe some of them actually were, and then they took the design, expanded them out, and made them a little bit larger, but made the outside still look like that sleek, aerodynamic dining car that would go down the rails.
At that point, you've established the aesthetic.
Mm-hmm. Oh, did you freeze? Nope, there you're back.
Oh. Yeah, saying no, at that point, you've established the aesthetic.
Yep.
What else are you going to do?
Oh. No, it just reminds me of when we went to Mickey's Diner in St. Paul. It is an old style dining car.
Ooh.
Very narrow, but long. They got a dining counter, and you got a few tables on the very edge. They're like 2-seater tables, kind of usually. So, real cool experience. If you ever get the chance to visit an old school American diner, do it. The food is usually going to be amazing.
Yeah. The music itself, like, especially the little bits of the organ creeping in, you've got you're talking about that old school diner aesthetic, and you've got a little bit of like almost gospel music influence to it here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you kind of get a little bit of static with it as well. Like you're kind of listening to an old radio. Yeah,
which given how much we've been listening to stuff on the radio before, it kind of fits in with, like again, with the whole road trip feel to it. This is the roadside diner I really am loving that gospel influence there. That is such a cool feel.
But it's got the leitmotif of a lot of the other songs in this game, so you can hear it in the background. Let's go ahead and keep moving on. Let's go to Cartanica, which is the theme of the region Cartanica.
Funny that.
Which Cartanica is a freight stop in the middle of the Seyrr region. It offers little in the way of leisure for passengers, but provides the perfect cover for Nocta and his retinue to run a necessary errand. So yeah. You gotta love the little notes that we get from the wiki. It allows us to really dig deeper into the music a little bit and kind of remind us where what actually was going on during a lot of this.
Yeah, after having so much stuff in the open world, this is something where the plot is literally on rails. The former freewheeling road tripping thing given over to a kind of like being pursued, being driven on. A lot of that luxury of choice and exploration taken away really serves to highlight it does a great job of setting the change tone after the Alticia disasters. Yep,
we're no longer in road trip mode, we are in survival mode.
Yeah.
While we try to figure out a plan to avenge Luna Freya and save Eos.
Stuff's gotten bad.
Hey Kane, how's it going, buddy? Long time no see.
Yo.
All right, we can go ahead and keep continuing. Our next theme is called Relax and Reflect Pensive. It's a slower arrangement of the Relax and Reflect theme that plays when the party sets up camp or rests from chapter 10 onward. It's one of those...
Yeah, where before?
I was just going to say, it's one of those things, because of the way that the story has changed, it's become a little bit more difficult to sit around that campfire, that in that little Coleman stove, in your little Coleman chairs. And so the dynamic of the crew has really changed, as so has the feeling when you're resting. So it's this music really shows that.
Before you had, like, it was called Relax and Reflect, but it had a little bit more of an upbeat. I mentioned before some of the kind of like tropical or bossa nova type influence to it, things like that. And here you've got what sounds more like a mournful rock ballad.
Yep, but it is the same thing. You can hear it right in every note. It's just a lot slower, a lot more melancholic, a lot more pensive.
It's hard to listen to.
Well,
not because it's bad, but just because of how bad things have gone for our heroes.
That's true. Let's go ahead and continue on like they are, and we'll careen into danger. Funny that they're putting this here because this plays in the tutorial battle when starting a new game.
I wonder if they had intended to use it more in the Cartanica era.
Maybe they did, but it just didn't specify it's in there. I don't know.
Yep. We can pick up some of those battle theme leitmotifs again.
Yep.
Yeah, like I think it would have worked for this point in the game, so I don't know, but I do get the feeling like maybe that was the original plan for it.
I mean, and this could definitely be some decent battle music at that point, so. Because, it is sadder. It is a little bit more mournful, you know, because the dynamic between Noctis and his companions has really taken a nosedive.
Yep. And it's not uncommon for when they're like preparing the audio, preparing all things like this, that they'll have a set track list for it, and then if there's a last minute change, they don't end up changing the ordering of it in the actual files, just because of how many different things call to it and how many potential errors you introduce if you do that.
That's true. That is definitely true.
It's not uncommon for that to happen.
Plus, a lot of these things are already set well ahead of time. So, and this game was in production for how freaking long?
Ugh, right.
But our next
It is interesting to have this in the tutorial because, again, it does have kind of like that little bit of that sadder feel, which I don't know how much it necessarily comes through as just, okay, why do you have something that has that feel in the tutorial? I don't know.
The game is not as old as me, thankfully. Anyway, we've now moved on, and this is the theme of the region of Tenebrae. Aptly called Tenebrae.
Got ourselves some more Latin naming. Tenebrae comes from, like, the same root that gives us words such as tenebrous, dark, shadowy. Yeah, like we've had the pretty clear light and dark thing throughout.
But it's kind of funny that where Noctis and his family and all the crew came from is known as Insomnia. Is it literally the city that never sleeps?
Was just about to say that. Stop pre-stealing my lines.
But yeah, this is definitely some shit's going on in Tenebrae. If this is the theme for the zone.
Yeah. Again, for our heroes, this is kind of like, again, getting deep into the heart of the usual evil empire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, Tenebrae has been under Imperial control for quite a long time.
Yeah. The fact that it also is where Luna Freya came from, so you've got a little bit of kind of that mournful aspect as is reflecting on the loss of her.
Yep. It just, everything is just kind of going to shit right now, and it's the crew doesn't know how to feel. So a lot of the music in this area, in this part of the game, is going to reflect their feelings.
Yeah, you've got kind of that pensive.
It's just amazing
to it.
How well the musical directors tie into a player's emotions and feelings.
Yeah, I know a lot of people complain that other emotional aspects of the game didn't land for them, but it does feel at the very least the music was on point with it.
And I mean, I can understand that a lot of people, you know, some of the storylines seemed a little forced and a little bit trite, but realistically, I enjoyed the majority of these storylines and how they were presented. and how, you know, some of the twists that we end up getting with it really hit me in a real visceral way. I wonder if a lot of it had to do with, you know, the way the world was, where I was in my life at the time, and things of that nature too.
Yeah. I mean, that is one of the other things. We always bring a bit of ourselves to these games. I tend to be a very ardent defender of Final Fantasy 13, in part because a lot of the stuff that the characters were dealing with hit at just the right time for me, for it to feel deeply relevant and meaningful.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed 13, and I thought 13.2 was a masterpiece. 13.3 was a little bit of a mess, but I mean, that, again, my opinion. I still haven't finished it, but...
Yeah. Experimental shit is experimental.
Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with it. I mean, it was a fine game. It just didn't quite hit as well as, because we were so used to having the party mechanics in both the first and second iteration of it, whereas Final Fantasy 13.3 was a solo game, basically.
I mean, they've always been a bit experimental about these things.
Which I can appreciate, and they know when things hit and when they don't.
Yeah, and that is one of the risks you take when you're being experimental, is that sometimes stuff's not going to land. But yeah, even with that, even when the overall effect doesn't work, you can often find bits that do, like a lot of this music.
Exactly. The music usually is on point.
Yeah.
Continuing, our next theme is called Horrors of the Night. This plays during boss battles involving demons. So we get the Latin, and we get real dark music. It's real heavy hitting, a lot of bass, a lot of drum.
We'd had some music involving demons before, and generally it's been something to indicate that you should not be here.
Yep.
For boss battles, those are generally going to be plot things where you don't have a lot of choice in the matter.
Correct. Like, there's a few fights where you have to fight, like the red giants and some of the larger demons, because they are blocking your way to an area you need to go.
Right. And so with the other demon music, I remember we talked a little bit about how it's not dramatic, it's just quiet and off-putting. There is no heroism in this, you need to leave. And we're not getting that here now that you're actually being forced to fight the demons.
Yep, this is fight or die.
Yes, this is the type of thing that I would expect to hear a bit more in a thing where you are actually supposed to be fighting them. As I said, the previous demon music had been you should not be doing this. And we've got the heroic swelling there.
The music is telling a story too, and I just freaking love it.
Yep.
Just like I friggin' love this beer. Yes, this is beer, people. Just for those of you who weren't in on the pre-show, I'm currently drinking
It's a beer that looks like a berry smoothie.
It's called Wrath and Tears. So it's very fitting for tonight too. And it's a very dark smoothie sour with blueberry, strawberry, and raspberry flavors. So.
See, our next track is one that I'm a little surprised it took us this far in the soundtrack to get to.
You mean End of the Road?
End of the Road. This is the Game Over theme.
Game over, man! Game over! You knew somebody had to do it. You know,
Yeah,
you were doing it in your head. I know you were.
I wasn't, actually. I was trying to listen to the music.
Kane was.
Thank you, Kane. Yeah, it's interesting, like, some of the other Game Over themes we've heard in other games have had a little bit of kind of like a conclusory type thing. You sometimes get that tinkling music box. This one still feels like it's something where it feels like this could have been used elsewhere.
And he confirmed it. Yes, he was. Because he is just the amazing shit poster of a friend that I remember, so. You are right, Kane. I would get sad if somebody didn't validate me. I need to feel validated and important here. No, I don't need anybody to stroke my ego like that, so it's fine. Seyrr likes to knock it down, though. I do know that.
Not taking that bait.
All right. So from the game over, once we get past this, we get to an empire in ruins. This particular piece of music plays at the exterior of the Zegnatus Keep.
Zegnatus.
Stigmata? In the eye?
We're not quite to the Jesus imagery yet.
Okay. I don't remember this area, to just be honest with you. Like I said, it's been a number of years since I've finished the game. I want to say I probably finished it towards the end of 2016 or maybe the beginning of 2017.
So in this segment, Noctis is infiltrating to recover the Crystal of Lucis that Niflheim stole. He becomes separated from the others. And he finds that his powers to summon weapons, all the other royal ones have stopped working. So there's a sequence here where you're forced to use the Ring of the Luci as your only weapon. Make your way through to rescue Prompto.
Oh yeah, I remember this bit. This is in the you're kind of in a dungeon area, and Prompto got captured, and you have no other. Yeah, you have to like.
Yep. So you're being forced to use.
Yeah, you're shooting magic out of your ring, aren't you?
Yep. So yeah, really reduced in what you're able to do.
And isn't there also a spot where you can switch over and play as Gladio and Ignis?
Trying to remember if that was in one of the DLCs or if that was part of the...
I thought that there was a part in the game where you could choose to fight with as Noctis or as Gladio and Ignis.
You may be right. I can't remember.
Again, it's been a while, so forgive me if I'm speaking incorrectly.
And it's interesting. Again, you've got the title "An Empire in Ruins" because as you're exploring this place, you're not finding Imperial soldiers. You're finding lots of demons. Apparently, the demons that were being contained have managed to escape, done what demons do, and slaughtered the human inhabitants of the keep.
Aren't there also like some of the robotic soldiers here too?
Yep.
The Imperial guys.
Yeah, this is something where the things that the Empire was using to try to where their creations have turned on them.
Okay. And this is also the area where Lunafreya's brother is kind of holed up and is kind of in charge of, is it not?
Yep, which will actually be coming up in the next track.
Rebus Aeterna.
Because we'd already had Nox Aeterna, or was it Aeternus? I never remember the conjugations on these things.
But this does play in the battle against Rebus, who is Lunafreya's brother, who blames you for her death and for him having to fight and serve the Empire. He's just a little bitch, though. He really is.
I mean, I can't blame him that much for thinking and feeling that way.
Well, I mean, he's just a little wiener. I have no better way to explain him.
Brilliantly argued. Well done.
He always annoyed me. He was like the annoying little brother that is mad at you because you seem to be taking away the glory that he thinks is his.
I mean, I think he was also legitimately upset about the whole his sister got killed thing.
But it's not like we wanted it to happen. We're more upset than anybody else. I literally cried when that happened.
Grief doesn't play nicely on these types of things.
He also had other issues, which I think, fed into his the way he feels, and that's why we end up fighting him here. He's got like some big old mech suit or something like that. Yeah,
he's he pretty much ended up effectively working for the Empire. We ended up on opposite sides of the conflict. There was no way this wasn't going to end in.
We bring up his boss stuff. Yeah, he's got this big old suit of armor that he wears. I think he gets he succumbs to the Star Scourge. This is actually his demonic form.
Yep. I guess I thought that's what during that he is actually begging the party to kill him. So
I think at this point he's realized that his choices kind of led him down the wrong path, and while his body is fighting us, his mind is starting to be like, hey, I fucked up, end this.
Yeah, I mean, you've got again effectively the fall of the Empire here, destroyed by this power, with our laughing Chancellor having been pulling the strings the entire time.
Just a crazy old man. I mean, he's only how many millennia old?
Oh God.
A few, I think.
Oh, he's only 2033.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, so about 2 millennia.
I thought actually that happened a lot further back in the past, but
there was some stuff where there was like some theories of when it was, but I think it was confirmed over 2,000 years.
Okay. So once we take care of Ravis, our next theme is called In the Light of the Crystal, which you can hear the prelude a little bit in there, those rising and falling arpeggios. This plays in the vicinity of the crystal that is in Zignatus Keep, that we are trying to recover.
Yep. According to legend, the Astrals bestowed this crystal to humanity alongside the Ring of the Lucy.
Lucy. That's how I always saw it.
Yeah.
Or at least said it in my head.
Yep. Yeah. Its light destroys demons, but it also destroys those that it has not chosen to wield its power.
And this is the spot where I believe Noctis gets sucked into it.
Yeah, I believe it is about here. Like, it's again this climactic thing, like reaching the crystal, the focal point of any Final Fantasy game, and then having it again go horribly wrong for us.
Yep, because if I remember correctly now, when we go into our next theme, we are in the world of Ruin. Mm-hmm. And I believe it is about 5 years in the future.
About, yeah.
I think they like 5 years, don't they?
The crystal has very specific plans and designs for how this is going to work, and doesn't necessarily care about whether Noctis has had a chance to make up with his friends or not.
Nope, it's like, okay, you're here, descendant of the Lucy. You're coming with me, whether you like it or not, and we're gonna fix this shit. So, buckle up, we're going for a ride. But the thing of it is, everybody else thinks he's dead because he just disappears. He's gone. He ain't nowhere to be found. And when we move on to this next piece, A World Unwaking, this is when Noctis emerges from the crystal. Actually, I think it's more than 5 years. I want to say it might be even 15 years.
Let me see. 10 years.
10 years, okay. Split the difference then.
Woo!
Yeah, because I do remember that Ignis has some gray hair, doesn't he?
Yep. Yeah, during all that time, Noctis sleeps inside the crystal. He is gaining the power that he'll need to save the world, fulfill various prophecies, erase, banish darkness from the world, all that fun stuff. But outside, the darkness that had originally just been bringing demons during the night covers the entirety of the sky, and so day and night are now shrouded in Star Scourge's darkness.
Yeah, well, I mean, frickin' why can't I think of his name right now?
Which one?
Bad guy. Arden, yes, sorry. Yeah, he's been running around unchecked, basically, so he's he did his thing, brought about the demons, and has been, terrorizing everybody out there for the last 10 years. Or something like that.
Mhm.
And it's a pretty nasty thing that Noctis finds when he finally emerges from his crystal cocoon.
Yep. Yeah, you do get filled in on what's been going on. I can't remember who it was, but there was someone who had been like a kind of young, fresh-faced kid who has grown up, is kind of like doing the equivalent of running guns for the resistance. He drives you his truck. I ran there be like 2 little bobbleheads of, I think, a toy that we had been collecting for him in one of the side quests.
Oh shoot! Yeah, isn't he like those little cactuars?
I think so.
The colored
God,
cactuars.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just
You get this.
a little kid. He's the son of the resistance, like the not resistance, but the guys that are doing all of the special hunts.
Right.
Or something
Yes,
like that.
he's grown up. He's helping with the fight to hold back the darkness, such as it is. And so you get the very depressing update on how to hell things have gone as you're driving through.
We're not that far yet,
nighttime
actually. We're not that far, because our next piece is called Neverending Nightmare. This plays while Noctis fights demons on the train on his way to Tenebrae, and when fighting demons in Chapter 12 before the Deathclaw boss battle. So this theme plays quite a bit after he gets out of the crystal. And then while in prior, while he's, while there any demon fights that happen during that time frame as well.
Yeah. Again, it's taking some of those demon elements, but again, making it into a proper battle theme, since these are meant to be fought.
Yep. Just kind of it's kind of a standard battle theme at this point. There's nothing that really stands out. It's good. It's got some, those points that are, building in crescendo, and then,
We've listened to a lot of battle themes at this point.
Yeah. Like I said, nothing really stands out about it, but like I said, it's still a good theme.
Yeah.
But this next bit of music, Homecoming, is where we meet the teenage Talcott Hester.
Talcott, that's who it was. Here we are, grandson of Jared, the Amacita family chamberlain.
Oh, so it's not who I thought it was, but it's still the same little kid. And he's the one that we got all the little Cactuar toys for.
Yep. Yeah, in the middle of just like that bleakness, there was kind of like it's cute but sad to see, he's still got the little Cactuars. He kept them this whole time.
I think there were like 4 or 5 different colors, something like that are available at the different convenience stores.
His little guardians on the dashboard. But yeah. So he gives us a truck ride to Hammerhead, which has been set up as kind of a last bastion type thing.
We're not there yet.
I mean, he's headed that way.
Yeah, but I mean, we're still on the ride.
My big point being that even though technically, like, we're in the World of Ruin, in the future thing, we are limited to a relatively small area. I think there's still a little bit of ability to go out and fight, though it's very strongly recommended not to, because it's all demons all the time.
Well, it depends on how much leveling you've done prior to this.
Well, yes.
I will say...
But the game is going to encourage you to.
I will say there are spots in this area that are great for leveling if you didn't get a chance to do so ahead of time.
Oh yeah, I mean,
fight a whole bunch.
It's still going to have that kind of thing.
And then, find a spot to save, and just, especially if you can find like a spot where you can get a big multiplier and just watch those XP gains rack up. But yeah, it's very sad. But there's maybe just a little glimmer of hope now that Noctis is back. So you can kind of hear that building up here.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. All this time, like, they've continued to keep faith in the idea of the king who's going to come back and do all this stuff. Just like the sheer strength of that belief, the idea of like what the king is to the land and to the people, the relationship between them. It's a recurring theme throughout the game, so of course it comes back here.
Yep. All right, now we can go to Hammerhead, the last bastion. It's a very different sounding Hammerhead.
Yeah, you can hear some of the DNA of it, but...
Yep, right here. But it's no longer that nice plucked guitar, you know. This is a very drawn out, saddened electric guitar now that's playing.
Yeah.
And you've got that real deep bass line. It's just driving. It's like there's something going on out there.
Plus those little kind of high-pitched, not quite wailing, but sound like desolate wind.
Well, I mean, it's hell on earth out there.
Yep.
And this is one of the last safe places for anybody to be.
Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure it's a thing where the survivors have gathered. There's just not a lot of people there because there's not that many survivors at this point.
You know, the survivors are either fighting in little bastions like this, or they're serving Arden. Doing what they can to survive, really.
Yep.
I mean, at this point, you can't blame somebody for doing what you need to do just to live.
Yeah. I mean, 10 years of darkness, hold it. It makes me think a little bit of Shadowbringers, where you have, in that case, 100 years of light.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into Somnus. A lot of people are going to recognize this. This is like the big theme for the game, and is the field theme for Insomnia. It's beautiful. Also very sad.
Yep, you've got the full voiced.
To give it that extra oomph. Just to really hit home that point that this is a kind of a very bittersweet and sad reunion or homecoming for him, you know, to see his beloved hometown in such despair and ruins, overrun by all of these demons, all of these imperial machines, all this stuff that, you know, he fought to try and protect. He now needs to save.
Yeah, I mean, throughout there had been okay, as the king, we're going to be doing this stuff and then come back to liberate our land. And there's a little bit of feel like you are finally back to liberate, but it's been so long and there's been so much pain. Like, the journey was so difficult. Mm-hmm. Which, again, and all that stuff, it makes sense and all that, just so much.
It's very powerful. It really hits you.
Mm-hmm.
So good. Well, let's go ahead and continue on. So instead of our little heartbreaking homecoming, now we're in the middle of Hellfire as we are fighting Ifrit in the smack dab in the middle of our hometown, right in front of our where we lived. In fact, I believe this fight takes place right in front of the palace.
I think so, yeah.
I remember you actually do this very first in the game. And then we come back to it here. Am I correct or am I mistaken?
Oh. I don't
Nick Nar says correct.
Okay, I had forgotten that bit.
The game actually starts with us basically at this point in the game.
Yes. Right, and then there's kind of the flashback.
Yeah. Which was initially I thought was weird. But then you get to this point again, like, oh wow, that's what we were doing. It wasn't just some sort of weird dream sequence.
Yeah, what was I gonna... Yeah, you got like these classic Final Fantasy summons here as the Astrals. Ifrit in a lot of games often be the first one that you would get. Sometimes if Fairlight Conky is the one of fire. And in this one, it's something where the very last one you encounter, the one that you never really get to have as a, like, all the others you end up having the ability to call them into battle. So just like such a change for how we usually encounter Ifrit.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, in this game, the way we encounter the Celestials or the summons, it's not the same as anything it's been in any previous game. We don't have any direct control over them.
Yep. Yeah, they're often described as being like gods, and this game more than any other, they actually do act like gods. They come at their whim. The most you can hope for is if you are in sufficiently dire straits and you are calling for them, they might be a little more likely to listen to you.
Yep.
Because there is a relationship between the Astrals and the King. But they want it to be very clear how that balance of power lies.
So we're here for us, not for you.
Yeah.
You are what can bring us out, but we're not at your beck and call.
No.
And there's no allusion to that, so there you go. Like Nick Nar said, you are our tool, not the other way around.
That is a fantastic way to put it. Good job, Nick Nar.
Well, there's a reason he's a guest host on the show.
Yeah, I don't think I could have said that better myself, honestly.
Also, Noxus is kind of a
the
tool.
Use of the... I was about to say, especially the use of the word tool. Like, that's not even a employer-employee relationship. That is... God, okay, that is a fucking fantastic description, and I am stealing it.
You're going to owe Nick Nar at least a bottle of something he wants to drink.
I'll buy you like a bloomin' onion or something. Fuck, I could go for a bloomin' onion.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on from Hellfire to Magna Insomnia. This plays in the final boss battle, and it's an epic battle against Arden. We're flying all across Insomnia. The Armigers, on either side are just going crazy, and we're just shooting weapons left and right and flying here and there and smashing into each other, pushing each other into buildings. It's insane.
Like, we'd had a taste of that with the fight against Leviathan and the power of the Armiger there. And this is that really amped up into a finale worthy.
Yep. Piece. Well, I mean, we've spent the last 10 years entombed in the crystal. Building up our celestial powers, so to speak.
I mean, it's interesting for a climactic fight like that. You might expect like this much more like powerful, like we've seen in a lot of those other. But no, it's kind of it's acting as a backing.
You know what? This battle, I think, really influenced a lot of the icon battles in 16.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of similarities with that, because if you go to those battles, those are just some massive scale battles, because you are this monstrously huge icon in 16. and and just using, you know, super amounts of power. Noctis and Arden both have that much power right now in 15.
Yeah, I've mentioned this before. I've talked about it again with Type 0. I said it was like the first one I saw where like summons actually seemed something to be feared. Like for a lot of the earlier Final Fantasy games, you had like the summon is effectively like a fancier magic nuke or something.
Mm-hmm.
You call on a thing, they do an attack, and here's like, no, these are living beings wielding these intense elemental. These are gods. What does it mean to call a god? What does it mean to fight with the gods? What is something such that a human would call it a god? I mean, like, no, this isn't a piddly thing that's a summon with that you do this and you get a little animation and then a stronger attack. Like, it needs majesty. It needs to be a little bit afraid. You need to be a little bit afraid to be using it.
Yep. And the fact that now we've been able to harness some of this power within ourselves as Noctis to be able to, you know, call upon, you know, some of these celestial power, you know, to be able to, you know, fight somebody who's been around for 2 millennia.
Yeah, this is the role that the gods had in mind for the king, for the
king of the Lucii. And it's a hell of a battle. If I remember correctly, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thinking about it, it's somehow a little less surprising that in a couple games, especially in Final Fantasy XII, there was the whole, we need to free ourselves from the yoke of the gods. Because a being with that much power, how can you ever consider yourself free?
And Nick, now you are correct, there was a lot of WTF going on. You're right, so.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
That can be a discussion for another time, but
right.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and we'll go from, you know, a never-ending nightmare to dawn. This plays in a very critical moment in the game. Noctis sacrifices himself to save Eos, to save Insomnia, to save his friends, to save everybody. He realizes what the true intention they have for the king is, and he makes that sacrifice and saves everybody.
Yeah. You see this in a lot of things where there's this idea of like, again, what is the role of the king, of a ruler? For a lot of people see it as you get to have power, you get to wear the big hat, but there's this idea of like, the king as like this kind of duty that you have to the people, that your life is not your own on that you are given this stuff in order to make it possible for you to sacrifice yourself. It's often shown like the bad king sees it for the power that they get, the good king sees it in terms of the service that they must give. It's a common theme.
Again, a very tear-jerking moment that comes from this. And as soon as dawn hits the world of Eos,
after the long, long night,
we now get the next theme, Somnus Ultima. You can kind of hear some of the similar themes from Dawn continuing on here. This plays when Noctis fulfills his role as the true king. After his sacrifice, he's able to use the power to restore the world, to rid it of the Star Scourge, to get rid of the demons, and to bring back the light.
Yeah, the phrase Somnus Ultima, let me check my Latin on that, but I think it would be effectively final sleep.
Yep. Or ultimate sleep.
Yes. Last sleep.
Last sleep, okay.
Which kind of lovely metaphorical way to talk about death. This ultimate sacrifice that he makes.
Yep, the true king has the power to banish darkness from the world with royal arms, the crystal, and the ring of the Lucite. And it's actually an homage to the concept of the Warriors of Light, one of the core concepts of the Final Fantasy series, of heroes chosen by the crystals, be it by prophecy, will, or fate, to embark on the journey to fight evil or restore balance to the world. Quite interesting.
Yeah. I think there's some alternate endings from some of the DLC where they instead shake off the yoke of the gods, like find a difference, which I can see, like, it is this really poetic, beautiful idea, but there is also the bit like, this is kind of a raw deal. The gods just decide, hey, you're gonna, like we've had other Final Fantasy games, there's not, no, we're gonna defy the gods and make our own way.
All right, next theme.
Interesting interpretations.
This is Dewdrops at Dawn. Plays when the long night ends and the sun rises. So once Noctis has fulfilled his role as the true king and banished the Star Scourge, sent Arden packing, and all of the demons banished from the world, light is restored. Just a real beautiful little song.
Out your piano and violin.
It's giving me goosebumps. So many different leitmotifs in here. You got the prelude, you've got some of the Final Fantasy 15 themes. It's just really nice.
Yep.
And then the final song from the main game, the main theme. Going all the way back to Final Fantasy 1, this is a version of that theme. I always choke up a little bit when I hear this. This plays during the credits. Congratulations, we've saved Eos. Noctis has been reunited with his love. The world is safe. It's a pretty good day, overall.
That's still a bit tragic. The king has died, but also the role for which the king was needed
was served.
Has been, yeah. Here we are. I found the thing that I remembered. It was a novel, written as a follow-up.
Oh yeah, there's a they wrote a storybook about 15.
Yep.
When they canceled the DLC for Noctis, Lunafreya, they put their stories in this book. I think I actually have a signed copy behind me.
Yes, The Dawn of the Future.
Yep.
Yes, in that one, Arden, Lunafreya, and Noctis rebel against the rules bestowed upon them by Bahamut and combine their efforts to kill the god of war in both the physical and heavenly realms. Before the crystal shatters, it absorbs the darkness and cleanses the planet. The world is said to become fertile once more, but the astrals disappear.
So it's just left for humanity just to solve on their own.
Yep. It's like you have gotten freedom from the gods. You went and killed the gods, but this also means you are on your own.
Yep.
Some people do find that more satisfying.
So yeah, it only took us 3 months, but we finally got through the Final Fantasy 15 soundtrack. I really do.
I should go back and replay that.
It's a good game. The game I actually want to go back and replay is Adventures of Link. It's not, I know, not Final Fantasy, but I've been watching a lot of videos on Zelda 2 lately. It's the one Zelda game that I never beat it because it was hard. It was freaking hard.
Also a bit of a departure from the usual things of its series, so
yeah. But it was it's kind of funny. It was actually influenced by like Dragon Warrior and Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
I watched a video on the making of it, and it was just really interesting to see that, you know, some of the lore behind it, where it came from.
Also, given how long FF15 spent in development hell, it feels a little appropriate that it took us a while to get through it too.
I mean, you're not wrong, but
I do have a tendency to make uncomfortable observations like that. They amuse me.
Yeah, somebody has to be amused by it, huh? But yeah, let us know what you guys want next. I mean, we do have I do have the Final Fantasy 16 soundtrack. We can maybe jump into that in a few weeks. Got the Final Fantasy 7 remake soundtrack that we could potentially look at. A lot of different ones.
Interesting to compare to the original 7. Yeah.
I mean, I also have a number of Final Fantasy 11 discs. I've got the Final Fantasy 14 discs. You know, but there's so many songs there, and I know Nick Nar's just being a troll. But no, let us know what you would like us to go through next. Maybe we'll do 16 next, and then figure out how we want to handle the MMOs and the spin-offs and sequels.
FF11 would cause me to have many nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to call them breakdowns.
But they're breakdowns.
Yeah.
Seyrr.exe has stopped responding. Well, I mean, I'll have probably some similar ones involved with that because of the time I spent in there as Klauss too. So. Yeah.
No, my brain just decided to cue up the Tabnazian Archipelago music, and now I'm just in reverie.
Oh, see me. I've got Sanctuary of Zeta almost running 24/7.
That's a solid one.
Yeah, it's I think it's one of my favorite Final Fantasy themes of all time. Nick Nard, Seyrr, 404, Seyrr not found.
Right here.
No, if we got into 11. I only break
so much.
So if we got into 11.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you let us know what you want to hear, podcast@phoenixstarradio.com. It's a great way to let us know the suggestions of show topics you'd like to hear. You can also join us on the Discord. But I think with that, guys, that's going to go ahead and do it for this episode. If you liked what you heard, please make sure to like, subscribe, or follow us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, or whatever your preferred podcatcher is. And if possible, leave us a rating or review. It helps other people to find our show and lets us know how we're doing. If you really dig this show, you can consider subscribing to us here at twitch.tv/PhoenixStarRadio, where we do this show generally live every other Saturday night. It'll give you access to a number of subscriber-only emotes and badges. Or you can go out to patreon.com/PhoenixDownRadio and support us like our benevolent overlord Aurori Fenrir, our secret of Nevermore Ravenheart, or our resident slacker Nick Nar. All proceeds go towards growing the show, cover all the boring stuff like hosting costs and stuff like that, but also just some fun things like contests and giveaways. But any kind of support, it's always greatly appreciated, whether it's a simple like and retweet, a donation, or just, sending an email to us saying, hi, what's up? We love interacting with you guys and the rest of the community. If you want to listen to our backlog of podcasts, maybe listen to all the other Final Fantasy music episodes we've done, the lore episodes, or whatever you want to listen to, you can go out to phoenixstarradio.com and get access to all 195 episodes, plus some special ones too. If you have, like I said, if you have questions, comments, suggestions, or just want to say hi, email us at podcast@phoenixstarradio.com. And Seyrr, any shout outs?
I'll go ahead and give a shout out to my friends Thomas and Simone for supplying me some of the materials needed for all of that submersible construction. I ran out of Vivianite. I didn't think I was ever going. I had like a stockpile of 800 Vivianite, and I ran out of Vivianite.
Jeez.
So big thank you to Thomas and Simone for supplying me with some more. Also, all of their leftover Coke.
There's never leftover Coke. Who are you kidding?
Yeah, no, There's part of it's like, I don't need to make the cocaine joke every time, but I kind of want to make the cocaine joke every time.
Or it could just be the Coke you're drinking.
I mean, I actually do have a cherry Coke today, so yeah, that works.
Yeah, I saw you were drinking Coke.
Generally cherry. I'm not a fan of the plain, but I'll do almost anything cherry flavored.
Like a chicken cherry cola.
Oh, and there's another song stuck in my head. Why do you do this to me?
Because I'm good
Anyway,
at it.
so yes, big shout out to Thomas and Simone. You all are great. Thank you for helping with... Ooh. Yes, okay. Thank you for helping me clear 200 million.
Shh, what? 200?
I have 200 million gil.
Nice.
Do you want me to buy you something?
Yes.
I can.
No, that's fine. I think I'm sitting on approximately that as well.
Damn, nice.
Yeah, because I mean, I've been saving for quite a while. I mean, I've already got a large, I've got a mansion for the FC. I've got a medium for myself. What else do I need to spend money on right now?
Submersible parts so that you can have more money. It can be an endless cycle. Everyone loves those.
I like enjoying my time in game, Seyrr.
Seems overrated. Anyways, how about you? You got some shout outs today, Klaus?
Yeah, shouting out to Nick Nar for just being, pretty awesome. He's gonna join us at the A New World Final Fantasy when they're in St. Paul on May 4th. Yeah, Star Wars Day. They're gonna be playing A New World up there again. This will be our 4th time going to them, I believe. They seem to come around every 2 years, so I mean, I'm not gonna miss a chance to see that. If they're check their websites and their social medias to find out if they're gonna be playing anywhere near you. The chamber orchestra is freaking phenomenal. Though I am really looking forward to seeing a new Distant Worlds again. Because it's been since 2016, 2017, something like that. It's been a long time since they've been in the cities for that, but hopefully soon. Shout out to my girlfriend for watching Ein, our puppy, right now as I'm podcasting right now. So thank you so much for that. I know she's going to be listening to this at some point, so hopefully she listens to this and hears it. So love ya.
Boop the snoot, please. Boop the snoot.
The snoot.
It's very important that you boop the snoot.
The snoot gets booped on a frequent basis, so it's all good.
But the snoot could get booped more.
But then he's gonna get angry at us for booping his snoot on a continuous basis and giving him non-consensual snoot boops. You must make sure that the booping the snoot is consensual too.
I mean, that's fair. We at Phoenix Down Radio wholly support the concept of consent,
especially to our little puppy friends. So, but yes, when you can boop the snoot, that is the law. And if you want to follow us, the best place is to join our Discord. You can message us. We'll be more than happy to send you an invite, or just go to our website and then there's a link there as well to join in and hang out, join the discussion. We've got a number of rooms that you can chat in, voice chat. If you want to play games, it's a good time. So please consider stopping by. Everybody is welcome, and we'd love to see you there.
Not the ad bots. The ad bots can go somewhere else.
But the people who really want to talk about Final Fantasy and what it means, please join us. It's a lot of fun. That's what we do it for. So for my co-host, or what?
I'm speculating about AI ad bots and if they would count as people.
No.
Don't mind me. You should probably do the show wrap up. I'm going down another Sargasso hole.
Anyway, for my co-host, Seyrr Timono, I'm Klaus Nightbringer, wishing everybody a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care.
Phoenix Down Radio is a production of PhoenixDownRadio.com and Illusion Productions. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. In-game content for Phoenix Down Radio is the copyright of Square Enix. Opening music for Phoenix Down Radio is provided by Guilty Gear Rock You. Check out the Metal Chocobo theme cover and many other music videos at youtube.com/Guilty Gear Rock You. Closing music for this episode is provided by Guitar Wanker 90. Please check out their full version of Matoya's Cave and other rock video game covers at youtube.com/Guitar Wanker 90. The views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of Phoenix Down Radio and its hosts and do not reflect the views of Square Enix.